How do you buy 10 houses starting from zero? That's the question I get asked all the time, and I'm on my way now to go and see Nick, a good friend of mine who you've probably seen in the previous video. We made a video all about how he lost 98 houses overnight and within 3 years managed to build his portfolio back up again. And off the back of that video, I got so many people message me, drop comments on the video saying, how do you do that? How do you start from zero and rebuild back up to that huge portfolio number? So that's what we're gonna go find out today. We're gonna go see him at one of his houses. We'll have a look around and hopefully we can draw out some golden nuggets from him about how you can build your property portfolio.
Jack, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. You well?
Good, yeah, sound.
So this is the house?
Yeah, this is it. So, yes, this is one of the latest ones we've finished.
Yeah.
Right, so this is, I guess you could call it the living room, or living room number one. So this was a through lounge originally.
Yeah.
So it was all knocked through.
Oh, it was in here?
Yeah, so you just walk all the way through, that wall wasn't there. So, particularly in this area, people like to have 2 rooms.
Really?
You know, it's always good to know your market. So in this area, you know, some people like through lounges, and so we've probably got viewers now looking at it and thinking, well, I'd prefer to have a through lounge.
Yeah.
You've got certain people in certain areas don't like it, and this is a particular area.
Yeah.
We did our research, we spoke to the agent, and this is a particular area where they like to have 2 reception rooms. So we put a stud partition wall there, put it back in.
It's interesting because a lot of people at the minute just assume open plan is the way forward and they knock as many walls and spaces out as possible to make as much space as possible. But no, it's interesting if this gets more interest. It looks fresh now, so you've done a good job.
Yeah, it's all nice and all smells nice new carpets and stuff and flooring.
Yeah.
So now the kitchen area, I mean, this was a little bit strange one. So originally we were going to knock the kitchen through.
Okay.
So it was going to be knocked through and it was going to be made into a larger kitchen. But then what we decided to do instead is we'll just knock this through and just make it like kind of, you know.
Yeah, so you've got this.
A family room.
So this is where the lounge is. You've put this wall up here. You've got this kind of second reception room stroke kind of kitchen area.
Yeah.
And then there's a space behind the kitchen
Yeah,
as well.
there's a utility area which we were going to open out, but it was just, you know.
Better to have the storage than to...
Yeah, and also the cost.
So throughout the house, what are the common things that you've done, rather than going through each room saying we did painting, we did what's the things that you've done all over the whole house?
So the whole house has been replastered. Didn't take the chimney out. We don't take chimneys out.
Okay.
So only if we need the space. If it's a HMO, when we need the space, we'll take the chimney out. But we don't take the chimneys out. So, so this has just been.
How much does it cost to take the chimney out?
You're looking at minimum of 1,000, possibly up to 2,000, depending. Yeah. And you can't just go taking chimneys out because of the neighbour. If the neighbour's taking their chimney out and you take yours out, your house is going to collapse. So we always try to, as you know anyway, we always try to neutralise everything.
Yeah.
So just
that's
by
something
neutralising.
I've carried on. You told me that a couple of years ago now, and that's something I've carried on throughout every house that I've done. A lot of people jump into the feature walls and really extravagant, like change each room has different colours.
Yeah.
You have different really extravagant flooring. Realistically, a tenant's probably just going to come in and check, or someone buying the house might just come in.
Yeah, they're just going to come in and change it anyway. Yeah.
It's almost a blank canvas. Yeah. I've always found better and always seems to be received really well from sellers or tenants.
Yeah, exactly. And then out here,
we've got this kitchen here space here though. So this is nice. Where'd you get this from?
So this is a Magnet kitchen that we got from Magnet.
Okay.
We use a mixture of Magnet, Howdens and Wicks, all depending on the prices at the time.
Yeah.
Through here is a utility. This is all derelict, as I say, check the first video out, but this is completely derelict. So this is a brand new roof.
Yeah. So this is, from the outside,
yeah.
This looks like it's part of the garage.
Yep.
Did you convert this from the garage or was it already like this?
No, so the garage was from there onwards.
Through here.
This was just a kind of a concrete floored outhouse with a horrible brick wall with weeds and everything going.
Yep.
So this was actually part of the outside.
Okay.
So we just basically put a new roof on. Well, it had a plastic, like I guess you could call it a lean-to, like corrugated plastic.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
So we basically put a brand new roof on.
Yeah.
Put the light in there as well.
Yeah, the skylight.
We just tidied it up really. We just cladded this wall, and then we've got toilet, toilet in there.
Oh yeah.
But it literally is outside. It was like part of the coal shed, so we've just kept it. We haven't plastered it or anything. We've just tidied it up. We don't want to spend too much money out here because it's single skin brick. It's not part of the house.
So this isn't. So that toilet there, that's just an extra toilet. You've
just an extra toilet
upstairs.
Yeah, there's a main bathroom.
For an extra space, I think this is actually really good, you know.
Yeah.
Because not many people, especially in rented accommodation in small houses, often get an extra toilet, a huge cupboard space, plus all of this, and the utility room. There's so much storage space, and it's actually really good. And do you know roughly to kind of convert it, put the roof on, all in all?
So all of this,
what
it's
we're
probably
talking in cost?
So this has cost about £6,000. This extra bit, including the roof and everything. So it's worth it to get that extra space. You've got your downstairs toilet. They can also put, if they want in there, you know, some extra storage or even a washing machine.
It's extra square footage as well on the value.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, the garden is.
Was something there when you bought it?
No, that was just as it was. Yeah.
Empty concrete.
Yeah.
Space.
I mean, it was like a jungle.
Yeah.
So cleared it all out, returfed it.
Yeah.
And then we just tidied up the, we relayed these just to make them safe. So relayed there, you can see where we've relayed those. We had some structural movement, so we repaired that using the Helifix system.
Oh yeah, we've used that.
Yeah. So with anything structural, you can only put the Helifix system in if it stopped moving.
Yeah.
So this had stopped moving, it was historical movement, so we've now just put the Helifix in, which will basically hold it in place. It's not going to move again. But if it was still moving, you can't.
We had a very similar thing. This looks like it's been built separately to the main house. We had a very similar thing with an extension on a property we bought where we used the Helifix system as well. Is it a common thing with extensions, you think, that there's a bit of movement at the back?
Yeah, I mean, what you normally find is it's the drains.
Okay.
So you'll normally find that the drains aren't working properly and so they've sunk, or they've just thought, oh, you know what, it's only a single story extension, it's not very big. Yeah. We'll just put, 100 mil, 150 mil foundations on. Whereas you're not supposed to do that. So so we rectified that, fixed that, and as I say, tidied up the garden. And yeah.
Brilliant. Should we have a look around upstairs?
Yeah, let's go and have a look upstairs.
One of the best things about meeting with Nick is that he's a like-minded entrepreneur and investor that pushes me towards my goals, and I want the same for you. That is why I want to invite you to one of our epic networking events where you can learn from other entrepreneurs and build your network. Click the link in the description, get booked on.
Actually, just before we go upstairs, just show you this. So it's always useful, like you say, from extra space. So we decided to put a little office room inside the garage.
This house is huge.
I know, yeah.
It doesn't look this big from the outside.
No,
but you've really utilised this. There's so much storage space.
In fact, I think there's a video of me standing up here looking straight through to fresh air. So this is about £5,000. So it's not, and it's building regulation standards. So it's all, insulated. So yeah, it's well worth it. And then we've just got a little bit at the front just to keep like the lawnmower and.
Oh yeah.
So you can just see there where.
Oh yeah, just like a really, because people don't really use garages for
put
cars
bikes
anymore.
in there, whatever the kids' bikes.
Yeah, that's great.
Obviously fire doors because technically you could store petrol in there and stuff. So, but yeah, no, it's a really good space. Yeah.
So Nick, the question that I get asked before we have a look upstairs, the question I wanted to ask you coming here today is the question that I probably get asked more than any other question. You probably get the same thing. But in the last video we did, we mentioned briefly that you built up a portfolio of 98 houses. You almost hit the big 100 and then you lost it all.
Jackpot.
Yeah. But what people find most interesting and what people seem to ask me about, which is a fair enough question, once you lost it all, how did you build it back up so quick? Because it was like 3 years that it took to build back up a big portfolio again.
So, I mean, first of all, I had to get a job. So I needed a job just to live. So I phoned my mate up and said, Rich, I need a job. I've just gone bankrupt. So I got a job selling double glazing. That's the only job I could get at the time, or the only job that I knew that I could, walk straight into because it was commission only. Yeah. So you don't sell, you don't get paid. So I sold conservatories and double glazing for my friend. So I saved up my money and started placing ads. and then just did what I did prior to bankruptcy. You know, so one of the things with property is that I knew that that was what I needed to do because it had made me so much money prior to bankruptcy. Yeah. So I wasn't going to risk doing something else that potentially wouldn't earn me money. I wasn't going to go and start another business.
And we've had a conversation, so you learned how to protect yourself from it happening again.
Yeah.
So with that extra security in place, you then went with what you knew made money.
Yeah, it made money first time, so it was going to make money second time.
Yeah. So talk to me about the first deal then, or the first couple of deals, because obviously you wiped out. You're on zero.
Yeah, I'm on zero. What reset button on the Xbox? You know?
And obviously there's a lot of people watching this that ask me, starting from zero, what should I do, or got a couple of grand or whatever. I don't have enough for a deposit. What should I do? How can I? Not necessarily what should they do. What did you do?
Yeah. So there's no such thing as no money down, as we all know. Somebody needs to pay. Yeah. You can't just walk to somebody that's selling a house for 100 grand and say I want it for free, or go to the lender and get a 100% mortgage. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as that. Used to be many moons ago, but there isn't anymore. So someone's got to pay. So what I did, I'd got a job which paid my living expenses, which I always say to everybody, keep a job. Even if you're going to go into property, keep your job going because it's going to keep you living. And then you can then, while you've got an income coming, you haven't got to worry about that income, you can then go and do things with property or try and start things with property. So what I did is I approached a friend and said, look, you've seen me do all this before. It's just circumstance, which is a long story how I went bankrupt, but it wasn't anything to do with property. So it was circumstance that I went bankrupt. You've seen me do it before. You've seen how much money is to be made. So do you want to lend me some money? So we basically set up a company. I couldn't set it up in my name, so I had to set it up in my wife's name because I was bankrupt. So set the company up, him and my wife did a joint venture, and then I just went out and bought below market value properties. But the key is you won't make any money unless it's B&B. So if it's not below market, where's the profit going to come from?
You have to be quite selective with your properties.
Very selective, yeah.
Straight up, how much do they need to get started? What's the realistic number?
Okay, so if you're talking about the realistic number to get started in property, you need 25%.
Okay.
Yeah, because most lenders, I mean, there are lenders out there that will do 80%, but you'll pay a higher interest.
I think it's really important to emphasise that because I've spoken to so many people. I got into property, the way I was able to build up more of a deposit to buy multiple houses was through deal sourcing. I also had some money set aside from the beginning. One of the things that I've realised is that everybody thinks it's absolutely essential to make money in property to then invest it, so through deal sourcing, your rent to rents, all that type of stuff. I found, from speaking to a number of people at the moment, there's so many people out there that can have the capacity and the skill set to make a lot of money in what they're doing already. And they're so in a rush to get into property that they're like, oh, the buzzword is deal sourcing, let's do deal sourcing, or rent to rent, or it's so easy, it's so passive. Actually, like I was speaking to someone who owned a HR company, and they were making 6 figures per month, and they were like, should we start flipping houses? And I was like, no, why would you flip a house? Why not just increase what you're doing in your own business, and from the cash that you make, put that into property? I suppose it's the same kind of thing, like you were able to do property because that's what you knew you were good at. I did property because that was the skill set that I'd learned and that we'd worked together on. And so naturally for both of us, we built the cash through property. That's not always the best way. It's like you say, it's buy and sell if that's what you're good at. If you're a good car salesman, just nail smashing cars. Selling cars, that's what you want to do.
To scale it, you're not going to be able to scale unless you've bought below value. Because to scale, we need to recycle the cash.
Okay.
So unless you're going to keep that side hustle going or keep selling cars or keep doing the overtime, whatever you do, unless you've got that money coming in from multiple deposits, the only way we're going to do it is you need to buy. So if this is the value, we need to buy below value. So then that profit, that equity, we can use on the next property, okay? Also, if this is the value, if you add value, not only have we got our equity below value, but we can add value. So now we've added value on. Now we've got an even bigger piece of equity that we can use. So the key then to scaling is we're going to release that equity, right? And that's a common thing that even people don't do in property. So, you know, families and households will quite often release equity. They want to buy a holiday home or they want to buy a caravan or something. They'll release equity because there's lots of equity in people's properties. So you need to do the same. Yeah, we're going to buy below value, we're going to add value, and then that big chunk of equity, we're going to release it with a remortgage.
Yeah.
Then we go and buy the next property. It all falls down if you don't buy below value.
So it's hustle, work hard, get a job, build that 25% deposit, get your first one below market value, has to be BMV.
Yep.
Shout about what you do, onboard investors, and then buy, refurb, refinance
Yep.
from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Should we go have a look upstairs?
Yeah, let's go and have a look upstairs. Yep. 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Starting the largest one first.
Nice.
So now this had wardrobes all the way down here. So you lost a fair bit of the room.
Yeah.
And if they're decent, we would have kept them. But they were horrible. So we took them out.
Yeah.
Just re-skimmed the wall. Re-skimmed the room.
Simple.
Yeah. And then
It's a huge room.
little box room in there.
Oh yeah. Little box room. Nice. Not much to be said about this. I'm
No.
assuming it was just a simple job.
And then
Is it me or is that chimney a lot smaller than the one downstairs?
it is a lot smaller than the one downstairs. Yeah. So yeah. And then just in there, there's a boiler. So we put a new boiler in. Needed a new boiler. The last one was absolutely
Oh
horrendous.
great.
So yeah, so a new boiler in there. Yeah.
And the and putting that in there, this kind of, did you build this? Or was
Yeah,
it
we
already
built
there?
that around it. Yeah.
Is it-
The boiler was already in that location,
I was-
in the bedroom.
I was going to say, would it not have made more sense to put the boiler downstairs, or is it more, again, because you're talking about doing things for a reason, making a
Yeah.
profit, is it more cost effective to build this around it? Still leaves the room quite big.
Yeah.
More cost effective to build a room around it, add a door in, than it would
It's
be
more.
to move.
You're absolutely right. It's more cost
the boiler.
effective to leave that there. We've already got the flue, the hole for the flue. We haven't
Yeah.
got to worry about putting a flue downstairs.
Yeah.
We've got the gas supply to there already.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's more cost effective. You know, it took us like 3 hours to build that cupboard.
Yeah, yeah.
So and the door's like 22 quid. And then the bathroom, we completely ripped the bathroom out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, nice.
yeah,
Quite simple, isn't it? It's just very
just plain
bright,
white.
light
Just keep,
colours.
yeah, just keep it simple. If you put the lights on, we always put downlighters. So
Oh, yeah,
we
it's
just,
got
you
lights
know,
on it.
just. Now, you know, I always say this to people: if you're going to live in it yourself, then obviously it's not everyone's taste. But for a
Yeah.
rental or for a resale, it,
Yeah.
it does what it says on the tin. You know.
Okay. Speaking of the MRV, what's the you know the four things, the four numbers that people want to know is what do you buy it for, what have you spent on it, what's it now worth, and what do you rent it out at?
So we bought it for 120,500.
Really?
Yeah. We.
I know the area. That's cheap.
You know
Okay.
me, Jack. We spent 30,000 on the interior and the garden.
Yeah.
Those were afterthoughts, so we
Okay.
spent about another 11,
Okay.
5 and 6. So we've spent about 41,000 all
Yeah.
in.
Yeah. So you-
Prices have gone up.
So you're about 161.
So we're about-
162.
Yeah, and then now it's worth 210, 220, and a rental income if we decide to rent it of 850, 900 a month.
Nick, thanks so much for showing us around. Really appreciate
No problem,
it.
Jack, you're welcome. Anytime.
I know you did a video on this property before you'd done all the nice renovations to it. That's on your channel, right?
Yeah.
So the link to that will be in the corner of this video somewhere. Click on that, make sure you watch it. Also subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.